This is a lesson for Algebra 1, Day 6, using variables. Here's the vocabulary you'll need to know. The three vocabulary words are variable, algebraic expression, and equation. A variable is a symbol, usually a letter, that represents one or more numbers. We could pick any letter we like for it. We could use the letter X, Y, Z, or any letter of the alphabet to represent a variable. And it's called a variable because it could represent any number. Algebraic expressions are mathematical phrases that can include numbers, variables, and operation symbols. For example, you could have an algebraic expression, 3n plus 2 is an algebraic expression. There's no equal sign on the end. There's no equal sign. There's no other expression that's next to it. So this is an algebraic expression, and it's algebraic because it has a letter in there. An equation, on the other hand, is a mathematical sentence with an equal sign in the middle and with two expressions on the outside. So, for example, I could take this same expression, 3n plus 2, and I could add an equal sign and make this equal to 8. And all of a sudden, now I have an equation. Even though I have my original expression right here on the left, the 8 is there, and the equal sign making it an equation. What words do we use for adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing? Well, the big ones that you should know are the following. For adding, you should know sum. For subtracting, you should know difference. For multiplying, you should know product. And for dividing, you should know quotient. These are the obvious indicators of what you should do in your problems. Now, you could also look at more than, would indicate to add. Plus, of course. Or increase is also. Okay, for subtracting, you could put less than, or minus. Product. We could use the word times for multiply. And for dividing, you could use, I would even say into. Now, these aren't the only words that would imply these different types of operations in math, but they are definitely indicators and helpful for the problems you'll need to do. So, starting on example 1, this is also in your book. So on example 1, we're going to write the algebraic phrase below. Okay, and when you do this, for number 1, we look for keywords first. So we see this word more than. I like underlining it, and I know that more than means to subtract. There needs to be a subtraction sign. With the words more than or less than, you have to think backwards. It's unlike the other indicator words. So since it says 7 more than n, usually students will want to put the 7 in front and n in the back, but since it's more than or less than, you need to flip it and put n in the front and 7 in back. More than and less than are the only two words you would do the flip. Continuing. Here's the opposite, the difference of n and 7. Now this is just like before. We're looking for difference, and it says minus here. Now this is not more than or less than, so now we're going to, in the last example there should have been a plus sign here. The difference now means subtract, so we put an n in the front and a 7 in the back. And minus 7 is your final answer. For letter C, we find the word product here. Product means to multiply, and I like using this little multiply sign. And we look at what's being multiplied first. It says 7, so I multiply 7 and n, which is our variable. 7 times n is what it's trying to say, but we want to simplify that, so 7n is your final answer for this example. Continuing on example 2, writing an algebraic expression. Looking at letter A, we could find a few different indicator words. For example, we have this word plus. We could put this plus down here. And we have this 5 after. We could just stick that at the end. We have a number here. Now, we don't know what the number is. It's a variable. And it's good to pick a letter that you like using for variables. I like using x. Okay? And then we have 2 times. 2 times, we know times means to multiply, and 2 is a number in the front. 2 times x plus 5, or 2 times a number plus 5. We want to simplify this, so it's going to be 2x plus 5 is your final answer. Continuing on here. Letter B. 7 less than 3 times a number. We have this word or combo of words less than, so that's going to be a subtraction sign. Less than, we need to, since it's less than, we think backwards. So since the 7's in the front here, we want to move it toward the back. So 7 goes toward the back, and now we think about what goes in the front. There is an indicator here, 3 times the number. So we have 3 times the number here. So we have 3 times, which is our multiplication sign, number. I'm going to use x for my example. 3 times the number minus 7. Simplify, 3x minus 7 is your final answer. Okay? Continuing on here, letter C. Letter C. First thing we do, you're looking for indicator words. Here we have sum. Sum means plus, of course, so we put plus down. It says the sum of twice a number. Twice. I know twice means 2 times something, so it's twice a number, so it's 2 times x and a number 31. Simplify, it's going to be 2x plus 31 is your final answer here. Alright? These are from example 2. Continue on. Example 3, writing an equation. Here's the example. Track 1 Media sells all CDs for $12 each. Which equation best represents the cost C of a given number of CDs N? So they say that the cost is going to be represented by the letter C here, and the number of CDs will be represented by the letter N. And I think about, if I want 1 CD, it's probably going to cost me $12. If I want 10 CDs, it's going to cost $120. And when I think about that, I know that's true because if I want 10 CDs, they're $12 each, and I'm going to multiply by 10. So if 10 is the number of CDs and 12 is the price per CD, I know I'm going to do a 12 times N, and it's going to be equal to the total cost, which is going to be C. So looking at our answers here, it's going to be our last answer here, which is letter D. C is equal to 12N. Our last example now, application. Write an equation. Change equals $20 minus the cost. So let's say we had a $20 bill. We could go buy anything. Let's go to the movies, for example. You go to the movies. You might spend $11 on a ticket. You give the store clerk $20 from your wallet. They would give you change from that. This says that change equals $20 minus the cost. So we have an equation here. We have the word equal sign. The word equals, which represents an equal sign. And then we have this $20. I'm going to bring it down. The word minus and the cost. So we have cost and change here. They both start with C. So I'm going to make the change be the big C, and cost I'm going to make it M. Okay? So cost, our change is going to be equal to $20 minus the cost. And that's the last equation we need to make. This concludes the lesson on using variables.